Hello, my name is Alex Bryant, and today I have the great pleasure of chatting with Kevin T. Robertson. And to kick things off, we're talking about diversity and inclusion in the workplace, and I want to know how important is it to you?
Well, diversity inclusion is very important, Alex. The pandemic has caused a sedentary lifestyle. You have all this remote working. And although the idea sounded really cool in the beginning, people are growing tired of it just like everything else. Now, there are consequences that come along with remote working. You have a huge disconnect. Many people that are entering back into the workforce, let's say pregnant women, for instance, aren't being really welcomed back into the workforce with open arms. The LGBTQ plus community is having serious issues, and also people of color. So, and I think that if you even want to take it one step forward, it's not really about color or race or sex or religious beliefs or whatever. I think it's really about people just struggling to understand how to get reconnected and understand how they fit into the vision and mission statement. So my advice to all companies right now is you have to embrace it, because we have wrongful termination suits are up at an all-time high right now. People are getting fired for the wrong reasons. You have HR departments being overrun. Compliance issues are getting broken. And a lot of times, Alex, nobody really pays attention to the employee handbook until something goes wrong. And that's the wrong time to be able to start having a knee-jerk reaction to start fixing it. I believe that if these companies had a lot of preventative plans in place, like plans of contingencies, breakdowns and setbacks and deficiencies in your organization is not if it's going to happen. It's just a point of when it happens again. And when it happens, you have to have a plan like FEMA. When a disaster happens, FEMA steps in. They know exactly what to do because they have training. The training industry is going to be big in the next 5 to 10 years because this is the only way you're going to get out of it. So that's what I would say. To have your employees feel like they're more included, you have to give them something to look forward to. You have to let them hit the ground running when they come in the morning, when they log into their laptops. They have to have some type of plan that you are giving them. Most people are not great at creating a plan themselves. This is why they need executive leadership. This is why they need managerial leadership in order so everybody can move down the road in a nice progressive fashion. And everybody is really, showing up to work and logging in for the same vision and mission.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you say that too, because you've got the opportunity to talk to all sorts of like event planners from different events and venues. So my next question goes into how much focus have you had in your career to achieve success?
Wow, that's a question that I've asked many celebrities. When I asked Academy Award winner Louis Gossett Jr. that question, actually I interviewed him at an event where he was Oprah Winfrey was the keynote speaker that night in Washington, D.C. And Louis Gossett said it goes back to when he was a child and his great grandmother, would drop gems on him and that would keep him focused. The great Dan Rather, one of the great news broadcasters of all time, Dan Rather said focus to him was it's like a navigational star. It gives you a sense of direction. So how I've been able to do it, Alex, is I've been studying the top 3% of the most successful people in business since the beginning of my career. Right around 22 or 23, I developed an insatiable appetite for new learning. I've taken over 276 some odd personal and professional development seminars. I have over 3,500 books in my personal library that I read and studied and researched. You're talking about countless of hours, tens of thousands of man hours that I put into my career to practice. So focus is really about an obsession with me. I call it obsessive based focus. And what that means is if you look at all the top athletes, you look at anybody that's top in business, they have an obsession with their vision. And I'm really, really serious about making sure that my focus is organized and that I don't work out of chaos. I like to think that I'm a calm amidst the sea of chaos. And that's what I bring to my clients. So focus is very important to me. You got to see your goals clear. You have to focus on next level success. Everybody has a focus, but what kind of focus do you have? A lot of times we're focusing on all the wrong things, but focus matters to me. I believe I was put here on this earth to be America's leading focus expert, to teach people how to clarify their goals and organize their vision and attack the vision with force. Because anything in life you do not meet with greater or equal force, it's going to steamroll right over top of you. So real focus, Alex, is concentrating on one thing at a time. And when you do that, it will automatically raise the visibility of all your other talents.
Yeah, and that kind of segues into my next question in regards to what can companies do to support their employees during the time of the pandemic in regards to keeping that focus at one stage at a time?
Wow. The mental piece, Alex, is really, really big. We have another one of our glowing students on our speakerfocus.com platform. His name is Tom Cronin. Tom has been contracted by Amazon to do a series of global initiative for mental health. And he's going to help them to reduce the level of stress, to see their goals more clear. And the mental piece is really, really important. So I believe that the resources that you empower your employees with is going to go a long way in making sure that they understand how they see themselves fit into the vision. Alex, if I'm asking you to fit a circle inside of a square, you're kind of looking at me like, KTR, I don't really understand what you're talking about. But if you can clearly see how that circle fits into a circle, or how that circle can become a bigger circle, and you clearly understand what your goals are, that means that the organization's got to empower you with some resources. I'm asking you to do more, but I'm giving you less. So resources are an important part. Employees have got to understand where the resources are. They've got to put the resources at their fingertips, whether or not that's online, whether or not that's on-site training or webinars or on-site seminars, or either virtual events that you're doing. Employees are going to struggle unless companies show them the right kind of support and empower them with the right resources.
So that kind of goes into the next question I had too, in regards to resources, especially like how does corporate employees and event planners and events in general with less resources available at their disposal?
I believe that when we get into the mindset of less resources available, Alex, that's a bit of a defeatist mindset. We have all the resources available in the world. This is a universe of abundance. Think about one of your great mentors, Oprah Winfrey. Think about one of my great mentors, Les Brown. Mm-hmm. And, the laws of attraction that govern the universe state that whatever you have on your mind, you're going to consistently attract it into your life. So I don't believe in lack. Lack means I'm not going to get it done. Lack means that it's not there. Lack means that I cannot attract it. We have to stop talking about what we can't do, what resources are not there, and think about the resources that you have. So I would say first, Alex, start where you are. Simplify the process. We're overwhelmed right now. And the number one cause of procrastination is when you're overwhelmed. Think about it. The reason why we don't delegate is because we don't trust the person who we're handing it off to.
Right.
So if you think about it, delegation is about having the right person with the right skill set at the right time, doing the right thing that's going to get us the right result. So how am I supposed to delegate it to you if you're not empowered? If you don't know where the resources are, you're not going to act. And that's why people stay stuck like a stick in the mud. So, excuse me. So I would say for any meeting planner that has an event that's coming up, it's important that you understand what your membership needs. You have a responsibility. You have a fiduciary responsibility in these high fees to attend conferences and that want nonstop learning and continuous education. They want it. The key is, are you capable of delivering it to them? So that means from the vendors that you work with, that means the speakers that you hire for the breakout sessions, the track sessions, the keynote breakfast keynotes, the lunch keynotes, the awards banquet ceremonies keynotes. Do you have every facet of your event covered? And are you empowering people with resources? And do they have the level of skill that you need in order to perform? And that's really what it's all about, Alice. There's no such thing as you can't do it. Let's stop talking about what we can't do and start talking about what we can do. Simplify the process and then focus on the things that you have control over. If it's not in your wheelhouse, empower someone else who is trained up to have the level of skill to get you the result that you desire.
And then, so in regards to there's so many companies and stuff, there's so many different, not everything runs so smoothly. It goes up and down and there's peaks and valleys. So my next question goes into, what is the best way to turn chaos into clarity?
Wow, that's a great question. I believe that, what we're going through right now because of the pandemic, it's going to cause an effect that's going to last for decades, just from the mental health crisis that we're in right now. And because people feel like they're trapped. I believe that since I've been in the self-help industry for the past 35 years, I've never seen it like this ever in my life. It's like a gift and a curse at the same time, Alex. We live in a world full of abundance. The internet is creating more multimillionaires than ever before, about 1,700 plus a day globally. And on the other hand, we have so much noise and confusion. There's so much bad information on the internet. There's so many gossipy websites or gossip pages on Instagram. You have from the worst to the best. So I would say decision-making skills is really going to allow you to come out of chaos and into clarity. I always teach people when I'm at a speaking engagement, don't say it unless you see it. See it and then say it. That means your thoughts are organized. That means you know exactly where you want to go with your thought. That means you have command over what you want to say. And I believe that communication has taken a real big hit, Alex. I mean, a really big hit. It's cool that we're Zooming, but you threw people into it without any training. It's like, we were networking before, we were shaking hands, we were hugging, and all of a sudden we get thrown into this virtual world. We were forced into it and that's not natural. Even though we're still communicating, but we're human beings. We like to touch, we like to shake hands, we like to feel, we like to hug, we like to interact. So I believe that if you want to find your way out of chaos and you want to come into clarity, you've got to be really, really organized, and you cannot take it lightly. You can't walk around cavalier acting like you don't need to have a plan and have yourself together, because this is the very thing that's going to allow you to come out of this bigger, better, faster, and stronger than ever in your particular niche, in your field, and in your industry.
And talking about, post-pandemic and looking towards what the future looks like, what do you think it looks like for companies post-pandemic era?
Well, we're very optimistic at Speaker Focus. We actually tripled our revenue during the pandemic because we made the successful pivot and we were online. We were able to see ahead of the curve, if you will, of where it was going to go. Obviously, no one could see the pandemic coming. That's like, trying to forecast a Category 7 storm. You don't know how bad it's going to be. You know something's going on, but you don't know how bad it's going to be. I didn't see the pandemic coming, but what we did see was virtual learning was going to absolutely explode. And this is exactly what's happening. I mean, Alex, if you look at the numbers, because numbers never lie, you look at websites that had traffic of 78,000 people before the pandemic, and that went to 78 million people during the pandemic. People are looking for things online. Last year, there were 44 million new business applications open in the world. That tells you right there that people are looking to do new things. If people just made an extra $400 a week during the global financial crisis in 2007, 2008, it could have prevented them from going to bankruptcy. I mean, you're not talking about a lot of numbers, but it threw people into panic mode because of where we are. But I like to believe that we have hope. And there is an abundance of opportunity if you understand technology. The technology, and I cannot stress this enough, this is for meeting planners, conference coordinators, chair, board, or committee members. You've got to stop being afraid of the technology, especially with the millennials. 78.6% of millennials make a purchasing decision right through their smartphone. And those numbers are going to keep going up and up and up. You've got to embrace the social networking aspect. You've got to have an entertainment factor to your event. You just can't do a bunch of boring lectures. Millennials like to be engaged. And so I would say, to increase your level of skill to engage millennials, also Generation Xers and baby boomers, who will still make up a big part of the workforce, you're going to have to really work hard to put on an entertainment extravaganza with a high level of education and knowledge transfer. That's really what is going to get done. Now, that's for the event planner. Let's go back to the corporate organizer. Let's go back to the HR director. Let's go back to the head of training and development. Let's go back to the managers or the executives who are looking for their employees to increase a level of skill. They want to create more productivity, but before productivity, you got to get them out of procrastination. And I believe that a real training model like succession planning and a real strategic on-site strategic work session. You got to have a real strategy of training and development and making sure that your staff is empowered, because if they're not empowered, they're just going to languish and morale is going to drop off, productivity is going to drop. So if you want to be strong post-pandemic, you got to get ready for it right now. If you hadn't started thinking about training and a training plan and bringing real facilitators onto your organization, people that really know how to teach and really can tap into the core of the LGBTQ plus, tap into the core of diversity inclusion, tap into the core of lack of productivity and lack of morale, then you're going to have an ongoing problem that is not going to go away, and you cannot stick your head in the sand.
And talking of productivity, what's your opinion in regards to procrastination versus performance?
Wow. Well, that's a real big one, Alex. This is one where again, we're not addressing it. We're allowing employees to procrastinate. We're overwhelmed right now. We're overwhelmed with the data. We're overwhelmed with the internet. We're overwhelmed with content. We're overwhelmed with goals. See, if you try to eat the whole elephant at one time, you're going to fail. Eating it one bite at a time is the right step. But we don't like processes. We don't like systems. We don't like change. We don't like new. So change is what we've been going through nonstop. Companies are forever evolving. So if you want to go from procrastination to productivity, you've got to really set out a clear plan. Let me share something with you, Alex, that I learned. And I took a poll on this as I was touring over the years. I would just keep these little mental notes of things that was happening. And your average employee, they think that an objective and a goal is the same exact thing. They think that the objective and the goal is the same thing. The goal is, the great Stephen Covey talks about beginning with the end in mind. The goal is the end of the process. The goal is the end of the journey. It's what we're striving for, Alex. It's like we're trying to climb the top of Mount Everest and plant the flag of achievement. But before you start, you can't start at the top. And what stops people from getting to the top is that they procrastinate. And a lot of that has to do with fear. Fear is anxiety. The great Kobe Bryant described fear is, okay, I see fear. I know it's there. Okay, I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to go through it anyway. See, these are all the greatest people in the world, the most successful people. They all are afraid. I have anxiety I have to deal with every single day. But you know what, Alex? I get up and I realize that I have a goal bigger than myself, and I get up and I do it anyway. See, if you're in it for you, you're going to fail. Companies, if you're in it for the money, coming out of the pandemic, you're not going to make much money. But if you're all about your family, your extended family, which is your frontline employees in specific, and your managers and your executive leadership, if you're in it for them and you understand that we're in this together, and the only way we're going to come out of it is with togetherness. And that is what I honestly believe. I believe if you want to go from a procrastinator, which you ever heard of the 80-20 rule in the workplace?
Yeah.
20% of the staff carries 80% of the workload for everyone else. Now, that's a disproportionate number that's very disturbing. And inside of the 80%, you have lack of morale. I hate my supervisor. I don't like my job. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Operations is not doing their job. We're languishing in sales, is off by 33% last month because we don't have the right kind of resources. So there are many things that is causing a bottleneck effect. And the levee will break when there's too much pressure. The great natural disaster in New Orleans taught us that anytime you have water that is not being contained, it's going to overflow and it's going to be a problem. And that's what's happening with these corporations. So you've got to treat people like family, because if you don't honor them, they're not going to honor you. If you don't respect them, they're not going to respect you. If you do not help them and support them, they're not going to help and support you.
And going into my next question, so why do we need more love into the workplace, particularly?
Oh, wow. Well, Alex, love is a broad word. And I don't throw it around loosely. When I tell somebody, hey, Alex, you're my brother, I love you, I mean it. I have respect for you. You're obviously, you do what you do at a very high level. You're constantly learning, improving, growing. You're always serving other people. And, you know, in the workplace, we tell our staff is speaker focused. We love them all the time. I tell my students when I know they need to hear it, I extend my hand of love and friendship and association in a business relationship because we need it. You know, think about it. Love is compassion. Love is caring. Love is caring about your fellow human being. We need to approach this from just a basic level of human beings. Like, do you give a damn? Do you care about your staff? Do you care about their growth and development? Do you care about their learning? Do you care what they're going through? Because I can guarantee you that whatever they're going through personally, it's going to spill over into the workplace. And whatever you're going through professionally, it's going to spill over into your work life. Now, if you don't know how to love, if you don't have some compassion and some caring right now, you're really going to be in trouble. Because I believe that as much as we want to keep it professional, Alex, there's love is in the touch of a professional handshake. Love is in a brotherly hug that we give each other when we embrace each other. I don't care if you got your mask on or not. We eventually have got to get back to that because we're fractured right now. And you can't have love with a bunch of hate. You can't have love with a bunch of confusion. You can't have love with a bunch of misunderstanding. And this is what's happening right now. We mock what we don't understand. That's not showing love, right? We don't support because of somebody's belief system. That's not love. Love is smiling. So Alex, I have a saying that I go by. I have a smile on my face. I'm going to share with the world. And I have a song in my heart and I'm going to sing it every single day. And the song that I'm singing is I love you. The song I'm singing is I want to see you win. I genuinely want to see you do well. And I believe that when you open up your heart like that, with that kind of attitude, with that kind of love, it just spreads, and love has a healing effect, Alex, and there's medicine in your message. And I plan on bringing a lot of medicine and a lot of love to these corporations as I'm touring throughout the country globally as well.
I love that. And I love that you bring that, like the song, but also like the meaning behind it too. In regards to like what needs that medicine, kind of sways into my last question I have for you. In regards to the love that people are not feeling right now because they're feeling isolated, but also struggling with anxiety. So what advice would you have for executives going through that right now?
Wow, that's a great question. And I like the way you started from the top instead of the bottom. I believe that the grassroots employee, they put the company on their back. Managerial supervisory level, you have 72% of managers micromanage. They try to manage the job instead of trying to manage the unique personality type that they're dealing with. And this is why you have so many clashes in the workplace. This causes a tremendous amount of stress. So the supervisors and managers are dictating to the employees that you should empower the employees with the level of skill if you want them to perform. The managers have got to manage people, not the actual position. And then on an executive level, it starts with you. I see so many executives. I love it when I show up on site and I do a training, or I show up on a virtual session and the executiveship is attending the event. They're involved. They're not just, oh, new training and growing and developing is for you. No, we all got to get through this together. And I believe that a lot of times on an executiveship, for example, we all have some issues and challenges and problems on every level. Employees are lacking a level of skill. They're overworked on the front line. Managers and supervisors don't really understand people, so they try to manage the position, and it causes a lot of clashes. Ego gets in the way as well, and they're overly emotional. On an executiveship level, we're talking about their listening skills are below 42.3%. So if you're not listening, if you're having clashes, if you're overworked and you're stressed, you're going to feel a tremendous amount of anxiety. So I would say that addressing these multitude of challenges that we face in the workplace, Alex, it all starts from an executiveship level. You know, your company vision and mission statement, did you realize that less than 10% of employees actually know what the company vision and mission statement is? Alex, that's the very reason why we come into work every day. It gives you a sense of direction. It gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a sense of belonging. So your vision and mission statement needs to be very clear. There's so many examples of companies who do it right. If you look at the big companies like Google, they facilitate a workplace environment where they have healthy snacks. They have napping pods. They have an environment of exercise. And because they understand that the people that they're hiring are very creative and that you can suffer from burnout. See, burnout is a word we're throwing around right now like it's some kind of trendy word. This is not going away anytime soon. So to deal with burnout and anxiety, you need to have a stress management plan. Sad but true that many executives do not have a stress management plan. One of my dear associates, her name is, we call her Dr. J, Dr. Teresa. Her husband unfortunately passed away about 30 years ago from a massive heart attack. And she started taking executive leadership very serious on a whole nother level. She lost like close to 100 pounds. And she started to exercise and diet properly. And executives don't do that because all they're doing is grinding, working, coming up with looking at the bottom line. Well, your bottom line is going to start suffering if you don't start taking care of employees and you don't start delivering from a top-down approach, more love, more sincerity, more compassion, more vision, more creativity. Let's stop suppressing people's creativity. Let's put them in an environment where you're nourishing that. And you're not just managing and leading from a top-down approach. I call it the swooping effect. Whenever something goes wrong, you swoop down on them with this hard hand of forceful, totalitarian and dictatorial mindset. And all that's going to do is just cause more anxiety. Again, it's possible to be able to do it. I believe that it starts with the proper tonality, and body language is very important, Alex. You have to look the part of an effective leader if you want other people to step into your position later down the line. So anxiety and stress will go away if you have a plan. It will melt away the layers of all this negativity. It will melt away. It's possible, but we're all in it together. My last message and statement to conference coordinators and meeting and event planners is that I love creating partnerships with the conference coordinator, with the chair, board, or committee member. And what I do through my signature programs is I do provide that level of concrete organization, clarity, and focus on next level success. I love to be able to partner with as many meeting planners as I can to have these conversations so that they're not stressed and that we can really see how we're going to get out of this. There is hope. There is a way out, but you got to have a real plan. And you can't take it lightly. So I'm here to help people focus on next level success and help them organize and clarify their vision.
Really, really impactful. Thank you so much for the words that you shared with me. Some I'm going to take down. I've been taking notes here with me today. So I really appreciate your time, Kevin.
Thank you, Alex.
Robertson. And yeah, thank you for the work that you do for others and event coordinators, corporations, small business owners, and so forth. So thank you.
Likewise, Alex, you're a great servant leader. And I believe in, surrounding myself with people that think like me, that have the same kind of vision and going after the same thing, because that also helps lessen the load as well when you got a real dynamic team.
Right. Exactly.
Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Thank you.